Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a little bit of a different video for me in the fact that the Avengers Doomsday Cast got revealed on a particularly long live stream. I've been told that seemed to reveal little chairs with names on it every 15 minutes or something stupid like that. But I'm in the UK, so I didn't get to access the stream. Maybe it was available worldwide. To be honest, I don't really look. I saw a lot of it on Twitter come throughout the day, and that was enough for me. I didn't feel like I needed to be on some sort of live stream, especially if nothing happened but to watch names on chairs be revealed every 15 minutes. But I thought we'd go today and do a little who is in it, who is not going to be in it, and who still potentially could be in it. Because whilst it is a jam-packed cast, as we'll get on to, I think there's still room for more, which Marvel seemed to confirm here. So let's just get into this then. I could pop my glasses on because I need to read because my eyes don't work and they're broke. Right. Okay, so out of all of the 27 people we've got, I've grouped them as well so we can look. So I've gone with confirmed cast people who are in the Avengers or in Avengers adjacent movies anyway, or who were Avengers themselves. So we have Chris Hemsworth's Thor coming back, which does make sense. We saw him last in Thor Love and Thunder, I do believe. But his daughter's not back, so maybe she'll have a tiny little part. And they're like, man, she's not got a big enough part to put on like one of the chairs, which would make sense as well. Next, we have Anthony Mackie's Captain America, and whilst his movie isn't doing so good in the box office at the moment, it might even be out in cinema now. I did actually watch that, and hopefully I'll be having a review come up one of these days. I actually like him as Captain America anyway, but I can do a review on that. So I'll just get through my thoughts on him, but he's back, which is good. We have also got Paul Rudd's Ant-Man back. Again, a confusing choice. I don't know what's left to say about his character. You know, the rest of his family aren't coming back. So it's just Ant-Man. So Ant-Man's coming back, and I'm sure that's just to add some comic relief. Maybe potentially be someone they killed to make it be like more gravity, like, oh, we killed Ant-Man, maybe. We don't know yet, but could be. And Letitia Wright is back as the Black Panther, which again I think is good. I really enjoyed the second Black Panther film. But at least there is a Black Panther for those comic book fans. You know, the Black Panther is part of both like the Doomsday Secret Wars storyline in the Marvel Comics. So I'm sure people can be happy that there is still Black Panther, even though it's not maybe the one they want. But unless you want to pull in some sort of multiversal Black Panther just to make it a man to suit some maybe toxic fans, then there's no point really, is there? Because we've already got one. Okay, moving on. We've got the Thunderbolts team coming back. Who is coming back? Sebastian Stan's Winter Soldier, Florence Pugh's Yelena, Wyatt Russell's the fake Captain America, which I thought was an awful choice to be on the Thunderbolts team anyway, because he was so unlikable during the TV show Captain, was it Falcon and Winter Soldier? So, not sure why this fake Captain guy's back. I don't even know his name. I would call him Fake Captain. We've also got back David Harbour for some reason, because Marvel was like, yeah, we like you. And again, they were like, we'll put you on the Thunderbolts team after the Black Widow film, where he first got introduced to the MCU. And again, you've got fake Cap, and then you've got Russian Captain America, and you've got the real Captain America. So we've got three characters who are basically the same person. Why? So weird of a choice. And then we've got Hannah John Kamen, who I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but isn't she Ghost from like the first Ant-Man film? She was like the villain in that, and then they threw her onto the Thunderbolts team if it is the same person. It is, and she was in the second one as well as the main villain, not the first one, although she showed up in the first one, according to my little Google search just then. Alright, so this is like the big part of the Avengers Doomsday Cast. I mean, maybe there was musings online about the cast, but certainly I knew maybe potentially that Kelsey Grammer's Beast would come back because he was in the Marvels. So that's probably why I was like, hey, he could probably be back. Who we did see, as I say, at the end of the Marvels, we have Patrick Stewart's Professor X again, even though he's continuously died, I think about 4 times now in the Fox universe and also in the MCU timeline. So I guess this will be another variant who isn't dead. It's a bit confusing, the Fox, the Fox X-Men storyline. He dies because, Jean Grey kills him in the third film, then he's back, and then in Days of Future Past without an explanation as to why he's suddenly back alive, and then he dies in that, and then he comes back, and then he's in Logan again and dies in that again. So, he's a gift that keeps on giving, Patrick Stewart. Okay, and then following Patrick Stewart, you can't have one without the other. We've got Ian McKellen, which I love so much. I mean, he's Gandalf, Magneto, basically the two parts of my childhood I really liked. Two very good characters I liked as well. I mean, I know he's been in a lot more, but for me in my childhood, it was those two that I loved Ian McKellen doing. So I'm so thrilled that he's back as Magneto. Next up is Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler. Didn't get much in the original X-Men films, but what he was in, I liked of him. So it's interesting to see what Marvel or the MCU will do with him here. And if his acting will change, or if he'll feel the same, but a little slightly different, maybe. We also have Channing Tatum, who, of the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, in the small role he was in there, made enough of an impact. And of course, he was meant to have his own movie, which never seemed to come to fruition, sadly, for Channing Tatum. But he was amazing in Deadpool and Wolverine. So I, for one, look forward to seeing him here. I wonder if he'll have a bigger role, or it will just be like a smaller role again. As I said, there's so many characters. I don't imagine most people have that much to say, actually. And then, on the topic of not much to say, James Marsden, Cyclops, who was killed, again, shelved quite a lot in his own movies. Obviously, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, was the lead of the X-Men trilogy, the original ones, and Cyclops was there, but he was very much there as an afterthought and never really got to connect. And I think James Marsden said wearing the Cyclops thing meant that he felt like he could never connect to the audience anyway. So I wonder if we'll see like the MCU do something different, or they're like, come back to us and throw this back on your face. And then he's like, damn it, again. He's got Sonic though, so he's all good. And last, this was the surprising one for the X-Men, Rebecca Romijn. Sorry if I butchered your name there. She's obviously Mystique, which is amazing, and not the younger version, Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique. I don't think Marvel could pay Jennifer Lawrence enough. I don't think there's enough money in the world for Jennifer Lawrence to be like, yes, I'll come back. She's done completely with X-Men and Mystique. So that's that for her. She's over. But Rebecca Romijn, it's very exciting to have her come back. Obviously, the original Mystique in the trilogy, and she played her fantastically. I wonder if the MCU is going to go with the white look with the white dress and the red bob. That would be kind of cool to bring her back, or if they're gonna go like completely SFX makeup, head to toe naked again. Although in this day and age, I don't know if they could do that and get away with it. Maybe she's up for it, maybe she's not. But I thought though, definitely not. I don't even thought. I know she got demutanted. That's not a word, but I'm gonna say it anyway. She was mutanted when she got shot by that little T-mutant thing, right? In the third one, she turned into a human, and Magneto was like, well, such a shame, you're so pretty, but blah, bye-bye. So how is she coming back? There must be a workaround there. Or, as the X-Men films tend to famously do, forget who's showed up where and just carry on like, oh well. So maybe they'll just pretend she wasn't shot and demutanted. Okay, here's where I'm going to go into the next section. I'm calling them the oddballs. Like The Simpsons when they have the oddballs. They're not attached to a former team, and they're sort of just random choices to bulk up a cast. And I don't think these random choices are very good, bar a few. First one being Tom Hiddleston's Loki. Of course, he needs to be in this. It's been around since Avengers, and what made Marvel, the MCU, such a success when they made the team movie. And Loki was the villain in that. So he's obviously gone through a lot of transitions, up, down, died again, and then come back through the time loop from the little workarounds as to how he can come back to being alive again, but not the same version as he was before. And now a different version who's been running around in his own TV show. And I think, I haven't watched the end of the second season, I'm still watching it, but I think he's like, towards the end, he sat in like a chair and he's controlling the multiverse now. So maybe that's where he'll be in that one. But I'm glad to see him back, and I do need to watch the end of that series. Okay, the next oddball choice is Winston Dukes M'Baku from the Wakanda films and the Black Panther films. Again, I feel like he's good. Every time he's on screen, I do enjoy him. I think he's a fun character. I think he's a fun character that was in Avengers briefly, the Infinity War one. I think he was okay there. But, same as Okoye. Although I would have liked to see Okoye in this, to be fair, but they've not done that. But Winston Dukes M'Baku, I think, is a nice character for the Wakanda films. And I deeply care about him in the Wakanda films because he's part of, like, the original gang. And he's all Shuri's got left to link him back to both her mum and Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther, her brother. I mean, of course, Okoye's there too. But, that's the extended Wakanda selection of MCU characters. But it's an odd choice to see him here and not Okoye. It's also, where's Nakia as well? She's also not in this, and I think she's also potentially more pivotal as far as Okoye to the new Wakandan characters, and Black Panther. Shuri, I think, is more connected to both Okoye and Nakia rather than M'Baku, who they've chosen to put in this movie. Again, a male over females. Be okay. All right, then, moving on. For some reason, God knows why, Danny Ramirez has come back as Falcon. Again, he was in Captain America 4. I don't know if he was in the TV series. It's been a while since I watched it. Potentially he was there too. But, I think he's in the Captain America 4 film. And I didn't connect with him there in the film. I didn't really care if he died. And almost at one point he did die. And I was like, oh, well, a bit sad to see him go, I suppose. But not really. I didn't really care. So, I wonder why he's back. Maybe he will die this time. I think a lot of these people, we'll get into it, but I think a lot of these people are just fillers to be killed for the dramatic effect. So anyway, he's back as an oddball choice. We've also got Tenoch Huerta Magia, who is playing Namor. Excuse me if I butchered that. Very sorry, but Namor is coming back again. This is like the film of the Black Panther films, and they all seem to be bleeding into this one. But Namor's a good choice. Obviously, Sue Storm's also on the horizon, and there's a famous little love story between them. So it'd be good to see where kind of like his story's going here. If they go down that route, or is he going to join the villain? Is he going to join Doom, or is he just going to be like another anti-hero to go with Loki as well? We also have Simu Liu, who is playing Shang-Chi again. So that'd be nice to see him come back. I really enjoyed that Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings, really good. But again, Marvel decided to bring back the male and then leave the female counterpart out in a very crowded film. So before we can get on to that, she's coming up in the next segment of this. Okay, now we're moving on to the Fantastic Four. We already know who those are. Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Evan Moss, and Joseph Quinn playing Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, The Thing, and Human Torch. So we all know those, and I'm sure that makes sense. We have their film, and then they go into the next one. And I'm sure this is exactly why Kevin Feige announced them now and released their film before they come into the Doomsday and Secret Wars cast. And of course, we have the last of our cast revealed, being Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, which I still believe is a rubbish choice and could have been, quite frankly, anybody else could have been Doom. Robert Downey Jr., I have no problem with him. I really enjoyed him as Iron Man, but his time came to an end after a good, 12, 15 years. So I'm surprised he came back to be Doom, and I'm very surprised Kevin Feige was like, yeah, let's get Robert Downey Jr. back to be Doom. Maybe it's the fall of the MCU at the moment because they keep releasing films that flop. But I don't think that is even down to actors at this point. I think it's down to the storytelling and marketing. There's not much of it going on for these films, the marketing ones. They've overcrowded themselves too. There's too many of them. And the Disney Plus TV series, whilst I've enjoyed most of them, I've skipped a few, but I've enjoyed most of them. But again, it's still hard to keep watching them when people have lives. You can't expect people to be sitting down to watch whatever, this series after series after series, and movie after movie after movie, and try and remember everybody and then connect them all in together. So Robert Downey Jr., I think, came back, and I think Kevin Feige was probably like, Marvel's, gone a trend of downwards. We're not making as much money as we used to when we were in the peak stage. So let's get Robert Downey Jr. back, because he's our the thing that will solve our problems, right? It's Robert Downey Jr. Everybody will want to go see him. Everybody liked him as Iron Man. I'm not sure everyone's gonna like him as Doom. I feel like Doom could have just been anybody else, and then it would make sense to bring Wanda back, because she does have a love story with Doom in the comics, and I think it doesn't make sense, which is probably why Wanda's not in this. Thanks very much, Kevin Feige, but it's probably why Wanda may not be in this, because why would Wanda fall in love with Doom, who's got the face of Iron Man, who she blames to kill her parents? So, that wouldn't happen, so they kind of sidelined Scarlet Witch's storyline and romance with Doom there. I think that would have been so cool as well if the Doomsday villains were still hell bent at Wanda and a Doctor Doom, but they kind of poo-pooed that idea, didn't they? Okay, so now it's the part where I'm going to have to say, I will say it because I think it annoyed me, and I think it's annoyed quite a lot of people as well. It's just not the toxic Marvel fans, but out of 27 characters, only 5 of those were female, which as a ratio is appalling. It really is. Some of these female characters as well, no offense, like Hannah, who plays Ghost. When's the last time you went, oh, I really like Ghost. I can't wait to see Ghost again. She's in Thunderbolts, which hasn't come out yet. So the last time we saw her was in Ant-Man 2. And she didn't leave an impression there because they sort of killed her, but sort of didn't. So, so really we've got 4 out of 27 as real female characters that maybe people would pay attention to. And again, even one of those is Rebecca Ramshin, who is Mystique, who got demutanted. So, as excited as I am for her to return, she's not been on the cinema screen as Mystique in over 10 years. So now you think, oh, we've got 3 out of the 27 as female characters that we know, but no, we don't, because Vanessa Kirby's Sue Storm hasn't even come out yet. So we don't even know if we're gonna like her. So now we've got 2. So that's not good. And Marvel maybe is like pandering, as I say, to these toxic fans who don't like female heroes and like to trash them at the box office, continuously hand them to make sure that their cinema score is low, and trash their Disney Plus TV series, which you'll notice is a trend. Most of, if not all of, the Disney Plus female centric shows, nobody, not a one in sight, is in this cast, which is hugely disappointing, actually. So if you want to go to like money wise, right? So Captain Marvel, a female led superhero movie, made over $1 billion worldwide. Black Panther 2 made $859 million. Multiverse of Madness, which I know is Doctor Strange's film, but I think we can all argue back and forth, but Elizabeth Olsen really, I think, helped pulled in a huge crowd coming off of the success of WandaVision and the fact that her popularity has skyrocketed so much. She's one of the most popular MCU characters, which is not being utilized right now. And maybe this is a smart move. Kevin Feige knows how popular Elizabeth Olsen is, and he's waiting to drop her back in the right time. Should not have killed her off in Multiverse of Madness either, and that was like totally a character assassination of Wanda, that film. And it did no work at all from the WandaVision TV show, because the people who wrote Multiverse of Madness didn't even watch the TV show that she was in, which is why there was a huge disconnect there. They just wanted to make Wanda their campy little villain and a scapegoat. But that's the last time we saw her in any of the Marvel TV shows or MCU, because she didn't come back for Agatha all along. So I would say, that film made $952 million, and I would say most of that's probably down to Elizabeth Olsen being in the film. And then talking about TV series being successful, Agatha All Along was a huge success. That was a almost fully female-led cast, and that was hugely successful and popular. So why has Kevin Feige and everyone else involved gone, great, we'll do a huge cast and include no females, basically? So that is disappointing. Again, on Twitter, I've seen a lot of disappointment. On TikTok, there's a trend, like a very small trend, where you got the evil queens from the Snow White and the Huntsman shouting, "Where is she?" And you've got people are talking about where are the Marvel female characters, and they've got little grids with all the little female characters, and you swipe and it's like, where is she, or where are they? And it's like all the female characters that are being left out, and how fans do feel to some extent betrayed by the MCU and Marvel people for not including these female characters. And on that note, who has not made it? Welcome to this portion of the video. So Elizabeth Olsen has said she's not coming back. Filming recently begun last week, 2 weeks ago, over in the UK, where I'm from. Over in the UK, they started filming, and Elizabeth Olsen has jumped ship back to America and started to film indie films again, where she says she feels a lot more happier. So this could also be a red herring. Maybe she, it will come back and film, and they're just not going to release any of that to be a big surprise. But that's probably very unlikely, considering how rammed this cast is, and the fact that Elizabeth Olsen is continuously like, nope, not being back. Oh, excuse me, not been invited back, and she doesn't have an interest, which is a new thing, which is really bad, because if we're all thinking Elizabeth Olsen wants to come back, because we want her to come back, Elizabeth Olsen is like, I don't even want to come back. That was a portion of my life I'm grateful for, but I want to do indie movies now. Oh dear. Please come back. Okay, all of the Disney Plus gang, as I alluded to earlier, they're not coming back largely. We've got Moon Knight not coming in this film, or is not confirmed yet. Daredevil, She-Hulk, Agatha, Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury, the Cloak and Dagger pair, although they are in the Marvel Rivals game. We also have Okoye, Nakia, Monica, and Maria Rambeau, which is strange because they were in the Marvels, weren't they? And Maria and Monica are in the post-end credit along with Kelsey Grammer's Beast. So how is Kelsey Grammer coming over? And he's like, no, I'm just going to leave them two in this little world. Those two can shut up because they're female, so we don't want them in this movie. But I'm going to jump over to this new multiverse, but leave them two behind. Why? Why is this happening? Why are we not having, in the Doomsday, a small tiny part where Brie Larson should be back, and Ms. Marvel should be back. Sorry, Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel should be back to reunite with Monica Rambeau and Maria Rambeau. So that's not happening. So that's quite a shame. Also not confirmed yet, Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. Another strange choice considering Thor is back, but none of his female counterparts are back. So we'll get on to that. So these are other Marvel characters that are not being confirmed, but I personally feel they have no chance of being confirmed whatsoever. So we're at a different portion of this video. We had who's not being confirmed yet, but is probably likely not to be in. And now we're going to go who's not being confirmed, but is probably absolutely not going to be having no chance to come into this movie or the Secret Wars movie. So to start, we have the Eternals, all of them. None of them have a chance of coming back at all. Some of the Guardians of the Galaxy characters, unfortunately, Gamora, Groot, Mantis, and Drax, they probably don't have a chance of coming back to both of these films. Deadpool, don't think he's got a chance of coming back, not with Ryan Reynolds. Very public trial. You know, we seem to be having these every few years now. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and now we've got Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni. Or Baldoni. So, any of the Defenders, moving on, none of those four are going to be back. And none of the Fox ones, Spider-Man Extended Universe in Fox, Madam Web, Venom, Kraven the Hunter, none of them are going to be in this and have no chance. And sadly, Agent Carter is not coming back, or Agent Carter as Captain America. Hayley Atwell recently actually said in a video she's not been invited back, and she's a little disappointed by this, but they don't seem to be interested in bringing Agent Carter back at all. So she's probably not going back. And again, another really sad one is Elektra. She's one of my favourite Marvel comic characters, so it's annoying that they did her dirty. They brought it back for Deadpool and Wolverine, and it was really lovely to see Elektra back, but they're probably not going to bring her back after that. That was the fan service to be like, look, we didn't forget about these people, but, you know, she's in some sort of weird world and, you know, potentially dead again. So they're not coming back. And the last people who have got absolutely no chance of appearing in this movie is the Inhumans. The whole of them, all of the cast, which again is so sad because they have so much potential as characters, and then one TV show completely wasted them with some really poor choices. I'm looking at you, Medusa. Okay, so who is now not confirmed yet, but who could show up? Let's get into those. Okay, we've got Wanda. As much as I think that she's not coming back and she's all like, no, I'm not coming back, I want to do indie films, I think this is just maybe potentially a red herring. And I think that's the part of me that loves Elizabeth Olsen and Wanda so much that I'm like, I kind of need her in at least Secret Wars if she's not in Doomsday. She needs to show up at least briefly so that we can be like, yay! And enjoy the film. Wanda, as I say, hugely successful with women and the gays, you know, so if you want to pull in a big, huge audience, you've got to pander Marvel to everyone, not just toxic male fans who want an only male cast, which they seem to have won over on this side. But you need to have everyone happy, which means females who do go to movies and gay people who also go to movies. And like Wanda, a huge deal. So, you know, maybe they should fix that, you know, promptly. Okay, next one. Star-Lord, not shown here at all as confirmed in the cast, which is Chris Pratt, of course, but he could show up. We have concept art leak of him standing around the rest of the Young Avengers cast, but, you know, maybe that's going to be for the Young Avengers movie, maybe, and that's way in the future, like after Doomsday and Secret Wars. They teased at the end of Guardians 3, I think it's 3 or not 4, they teased at the end of Guardians 3 that, you know, Star-Lord only will return. Nobody else's name said it's going to return, just Star-Lord. So I don't know why he wouldn't be showing up here on an ensemble where he can have more story and then we can all be excited for him to lead the Young Avengers. So he's not in Doomsday. He's got to have to be in Secret Wars. They can't not keep him. You can't withhold him for too long. So otherwise, why do we, you know, you can't. The audience sometimes needs a break from characters, but not so long that we forget that they exist or don't care anymore. So I want Star-Lord at least in Doomsday. You know, maybe he can show up here, if not in, as I say, Secret Wars. Okay, next person that could potentially be in Doomsday, but probably not, is Spider-Man, but that's Tom Holland's version, not the other ones. The other two have no chance, but Spider-Man's Tom Holland could potentially be in Doomsday. But it's more likely he'll be in Secret Wars again because his movie comes out in between both. So Spider-Man 4 comes out after Doomsday, right before Secret Wars. So he could not be in this, be in here, and then pick up in Secret Wars. That's probably likely what's going to happen there. And maybe we'll get some of his Spider-Man universe friends, you know, MJ, Zendaya's MJ, another female character not in this. But maybe she'll be in Secret Wars along with Tom Holland Spider-Man. Okay, due to the popularity on Marvel Rivals game at the moment, potentially Cloak and Dagger could show up. Again, maybe if not in Doomsday, definitely in Secret Wars. Marvel is across the board on things, and they have got popularity within the Marvel Rivals game, so they might take that opportunity to bring back them. They've already cast them and did a whole TV show, so I don't see why they wouldn't or couldn't bring them back. The two of the characters, the actors that they casted that in that TV show. I didn't watch it myself. It's on my list. As I say, there's so many Marvel shows. People have lives. We don't have the time, all the time in the world, to continuously consume Marvel constantly. Okay, next one is She-Hulk and the Hulk himself, Mark Ruffalo and Tatiana Maslany. Both of those have been leaked in the concept art, so if they're not in Doomsday, that's definitely concept art for Secret Wars, but they should be in this movie, and again, She-Hulk should be there, also to ration out the female to male ratio, but also because she's a great character. People may not have liked her in a TV show, but you can't deny She-Hulk isn't a great character, so they should have her in here. And where if they feel like they didn't do her justice or they got the bad fan, reception from the Disney Plus show, time to bring her in and fix that. I personally had no problem with She-Hulk. I thought it was a great TV show again. It was a little bit camp for sure and less serious, but that works sometimes. I mean, look at the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're all just a bunch of unserious people and people love them. So why not when it's She-Hulk and a female? Other than for political reasons and like gender politics and the rest of it. She's good. She's a good character. So much so, Marvel made her a banner, one of the banner characters on the Disney Plus, Marvel section. So they clearly have intent to use her. So why not here? Probably in Secret Wars, if not here. And of course, Mark Ruffalo's, Hulk. He's great. Why is he not back? He should have been in Captain America 4, I think, because at one stage Captain America 4 was meant to be like Planet Hulk or something. So we'll talk about that if I do a Captain America 4 review, but the Hulk should have been there to continue the hype of him being in Doomsday, but he wasn't. Neither was She-Hulk, and so at the moment they're kind of sidelines. Okay, who could still be here? So we've got Storm, Rogue, and Jean Grey. If you bring in the X-Men in, I think it is not only a disservice to the fans of the original film, but it's quite frankly insulting that they bring the X-Men males back and then Rogue, Jean, and Storm are just left out. Like, either this because the actresses, Famke Jackson, Halle Berry, and Anna Paquin, maybe they're just like waiting for more money or a better deal or whatever. But I think that all of those three actresses would be up to returning as part of a big, huge ensemble, just for one last hurrah. So I think it's really insulting that you've got all these males come back. Like when I was looking at the Twitter reveal from like the Hollywood Reporter, and they were like, this, male X-Men character's back, this male X-Men character's back, this male X-Men, and then it was like, where's Jean, where's Storm, and where's Rogue? Great Mystique's in it, but, she got sidelined in the third film and wasn't in it, so, and we haven't seen her in 10 years, so... there was rumors, Famke Jackson's Jean Grey was going to be in Deadpool and Wolverine. It would be nice to see that too, because Wolverine did have a love triangle there with her, and he was really sad, and he's the one that killed, Jean. So maybe it was a missed opportunity to not include Jean there, but to bring back X-Men characters, more of the Fox X-Men characters in a multiverse storyline, and leave Jean out as the Phoenix or not as the Phoenix, either way. A ridiculous choice. Same with Storm and Rogue. I mean, for God's sake, bring them back. You're bringing everyone else back. Why not the three main females of those films? It's just a really weird choice. Okay, and Doctor Strange also could be coming back. I don't understand why he's not even being revealed anyway. Benedict Cumberbatch, I don't think he would say no to coming back to getting more money, or just, having more fun with the Marvel films. They've got to be a lot of fun to make, surely, as an actor. So I'm not sure why Doctor Strange isn't back. And on that note, I'm not really sure why America Chavez isn't back either. Both of those should be back. But again, they've sidelined another female character there with America Chavez. But, why not bring Doctor Strange back? He's literally just there and ready to be used. And that goes for the same as Wong. So Benedict Wong, why is he not back too? So he could also potentially come back. Again, all these characters on this, again, could be list. If they're not in Doomsday, for sure they're going to be in Secret Wars. Same as Miles Morales. We've not got a live action version of him yet, but he's so popular and he's a good character and he's not being utilized. So if he's not in Spider-Man 4, which could be really interesting and fun, then because there's no way Marvel at this point is gonna, unless Tom Holland steps down, there's no way they're gonna have two different Spider-Man films coming out with two different universes. So whilst there's a multiverse, colliding, Miles should maybe be in this, pop in, even if it's pop in, pop out. Just nice to have him there. And also, Lady Thor, I know she died and she kind of went to heaven at the end of Thor Love and Thunder, but it's a multiverse. There's no reason Lady Thor couldn't come back. Natalie Portman's great, and they kind of healed that rift between them, so it'd be nice if Natalie Portman was back in this film or in Secret Wars. The same as Black Widow, the original Black Widow, which is Scarlett Johansson, would be lovely if she healed some rifts in the Marvel world and came back, even just as a different variant of herself. Obviously, our version, the Earth 616, I believe it's Earth 616, she's obviously not coming back because she's dead. But it would be nice just for maybe to close a chapter for even Scarlett Johansson or Johansson. And lastly, Menga Shang as Xialing, which is Shang-Chi's sister. Potentially she could come back, because why would you have Shang-Chi and not a sister? Again, it's not like she doesn't exist. She's still there and very much active. So I don't know why Shang-Chi's sister wouldn't come back while he's there. Unless he's like, oh no, this is too dangerous for you, go away. Even though she can pretty much handle herself and she was great. So if she's not in this, again, I think she might be in Secret Wars. But as I say, with 27 characters already confirmed, it's unlikely anyone else could have a big role if they do get shoehorned into this movie, unless this movie ends up being 4 hours long to justify having such a large cast. And let's hope, my hope, sadly for some of these actors, my hope is that if they want it to be Doom and Doctor Doom, and they want to show him as a really powerful villain, so this time I think Doom should come in, even if it is Robert Downey Jr., and I think we could easily skim off a good 15 characters. I might do a separate video on who should die and who should not, to make way for people who should emerge in Secret Wars. But all I'll say in this one, just because it's fun to do a little tidbit in case I do another video, is hopefully all of the Thunderbolt cast minus Yelena is, I'd be very okay and not really care too much if all of the characters of the Thunderbolt cast just die. Doom can just wipe them all out for all I care, because I don't connect to a single one of them. And apart from Florence, yeah, it is, isn't it? It's Florence Pugh. Yeah, I don't connect to anyone except from Florence Pugh as Yelena, because she's great, and I really like Florence Pugh. So that's my thoughts on the cast of who could show up, who has been confirmed, and who's definitely not coming back. Who do you think is going to show up or not come back? I'm pretty sure I've missed people. I've covered a wide variety of these Marvel characters, but there's so much of them at this point, it's hard to keep track of them. Maybe this is why Marvel suddenly doesn't have much females in this movie. They're like, oh yeah, those exist. Oops. All right, then, that's this video done and dusted. I'll just see you in the next one. Bye.